Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another Gunpla review, and today I'm taking a look at the high-grade Cosmic Era Aile Strike Gundam, and of course, this right here is from Mobile Suit Gundam Seed. So I will mention right here, I don't always answer the comments under the videos because I'm always working on them, but I am always reading and listening, and I know you guys want to see some more older Gunpla as opposed to all the new releases and hard to get P Bandai kits. So if you do want to see more older kits, whatever grade they are, drop them down there in the comments, and if I can get to them, I will. Anyway, let's move on. So that right there is the high-grade Aile Strike Gundam with absolutely everything that comes in the box. But before we talk about all of that stuff, let's first talk about the Gundam itself. So moving straight into that full 360-degree spin of this kit, and it's hard to believe that this is 7 years old. It is so beautiful. Sure, there isn't a lot of surface detail or anything like that, but this is so anime accurate and perfect in its simplicity. So I'm going to mention one thing right off the bat, and that's why I never actually took a look at this kit, because back in 2013, I was reviewing Gunpla, and the reason for that is before this came out, there was the high-grade Perfect Strike Gundam, and I think it was just a matter of months, if not just a year or so. That kit is terrible. I bought that kit, it was awful, and I hated it. So this kit right here is the Revive variant of the high-grade Strike. This is an awesome kit, I can tell you right away, I highly recommend it. But as for that Perfect Strike that came out beforehand, or the older high-grade Strike, avoid, like the plague. This right here is the one that you want. It's solid as a rock, so much fun to play around with, and you can tell, when it comes to something like the spins, usually I just do it in a standing position, unless I just can't help myself. When they're so fun to play around with, I play around with them a lot. So I've been building a lot more older kits recently compared to what I would usually do, and this out of the lot has stood out to me as, well, way before its time. Even if this kit came out this year, I'd still rank it very highly. It's solid, the color separation on the mobile suit itself is fantastic, the colors look great, the detailing is sharp, it's anime accurate, all I can say is positive things. I also built the high-grade Force Impulse at the same time, which is also an extremely good kit. Once again, super highly recommended if you're thinking of getting one, I say get one, but it is a little bit more inclined to fall apart because of the transformation and separation gimmicks. It just isn't as solid or as fun to play around with as the Strike. Debatably, a little bit better looking though. Although this is an absolutely fantastic kit, it does not entirely escape some of the old school Gunpla problems. Seam lines are aplenty, we've got some big ones up the front of the legs, we've got that very common one which is going down the side of the head, which we still see nowadays. The nub marks are on the surface, some of the gate marks are quite large, but one thing that Bandai definitely did do here is make sure none of this is apparent from the direct front, which is the most important perspective. So even though these are here, they're not necessarily all that noticeable. When it comes to the stickers, they may seem a little bit shocking at first because we do have some absolutely large ones, but the only ones that are actually used in the mobile suit itself are those three tiny ones, which are 6, 7, and 8, which are the head cameras and the eyes. The major offenders, which are the big red ones and the white one, the red ones are for on the Aile Striker pack, and the white one is for on the shield. So once again, the mobile suit is pretty much perfect. So moving into a size comparison, and there's the high-grade Strike Revive, beside your standard RX-78-2 Gundam, that also is a Revive, beside an Iron-Blooded Orphans Gundam frame, that is Gundam Hajiroboshi, beside a 30-minute missions kit, and finally, once again, there it is beside the high-grade Force Impulse. So now moving on to the accessories, and here is the high-grade Aile Strike Revive with absolutely everything that it comes with, and what we get is your standard loadout of shield, beam rifle, beam sabers, and the Aile Strike comes with some extras, which is the Armor Schneiders and the Striker Pack. So this kit right here only comes with the standard set of holding hands, nothing extra in here whatsoever. This does suck, but I will mention, at this point, it's kinda what you would expect from most high grades. Bandai does sell pre-posed hands separately. They're relatively inexpensive, so I assume it's the best idea to just load up on a whole bunch of those. As far as I know, these fit the vast majority of standard polycap wrists, so you're good to go. In here we've got your standard set of beam sabers. They're the same as we would have seen since this was released. Actually, these beams are dated 2013, so I guess they would have come out with a kit for their first time sometime around this one, if not this one. When they're not in use as usual, you can just take them off like that, pop off the handle, throw away that beam, and these can be stored away in the Aile Striker Pack. Next up in here, we've got that beam rifle. This is actually quite nice. It is your standard beam rifle made out of 2 pieces and barrel. It's decently detailed, but it is quite prone to nubbing up, so be careful to clean those up. You attach this into the hand the usual way by popping off the back of the hand, popping the beam rifle into the hand, get that back of the hand back on, and there you go. This is a very standard looking beam rifle. It does the job exactly the way that you'd want it to, and it also has a bit of a moving handle up front. The armor schneiders are just standard little pieces of grey plastic. They pop into the hand like so. They don't do anything special, and also there is no storage option. You cannot open up the side skirts on this kit. Next up then, in here is the shield. This is very nice. The color separation is pretty good, except that top part, which should have a sticker on it. There's the sticker. It looks, well, honestly, not great. To attach this, you just attach this adapter into the back of the arm, very old school. And then you've got 2 choices. You can either attach the shield onto the back like so it can swing up that shield for some nice blocking poses, or attach it onto the side like so for, well, different vibe of blocking poses, I guess. Next up then, we've got that Aile Striker Pack. This is very nice, very simple. The only real down point is the stickers, but I find these aren't the most noticeable. These particular stickers cover a very flat area, so it does mean they're easy to apply. The color is quite good. It looks very, very similar, if not identical to the plastic. And on the whole, they look quite good. The only real letdown is if you don't line them up perfectly, you may get this little bit of a black line along the front of the wing, like I did. Besides that though, not the worst, but it's always better to see color separated parts, but I prefer to see stickers on the accessories than on the mobile suit itself. As for moving parts on here, we can move these sections up front, which have the beam saber handles. Those are ball joints, and around back these jet sections are also on ball joints. So we get a lot of nice movement out of this without it ending up a little bit on the, well, delicate side, like something like the Master Grade. Attaching this is incredibly simple. It just slots into the hole in the back like this. No problem whatsoever, besides one minor little problem. That, of course, is the fact that this is just a single peg hole. So that means this is not your standard universal Gunpla backpack adapter for high grades. And the one I'm talking about is this right here on the back of the Force Impulse. So this is what most Gundam kits have now, so you can swap out backpacks to make kit bashing and playing around a lot more easy. This single hole is a lot less common. It is on the Windom. And speaking of which, here it is, and let's steal that pack. Get off of there. Let's see if they fit. Yes, they do. Those striker packs are 100% compatible. As for the Force Impulse though, that does have this little piece which attaches its pack on. That is a single hole, but you can kind of attach the Aile Striker onto the Force Impulse, but it doesn't really hold on, so that's a no. And you cannot attach the Force Silhouette pack onto the Strike. Well, not without an adapter, and then it kind of gets a bit silly, and still at that, it doesn't really attach. But anyway, I digress. There it is with that Aile Striker pack on, and this is such an absolutely iconic, beautiful combination right here. I love this. So finally moving on to the articulation, the first thing I'll say about this kit is it is so solid. This is absolute solid perfection right here. So when it comes to kits of the Aile Striker, this is probably the strongest out-of-box build. Definitely more so than the real grade, and a lot more than the backpack we would have seen on the Master Grade version. So if you want something soluble, then melt this thing down. If you want something solid, then this is the Strike for you. But anyway, with everything stripped off, let's go from the head down. The neck is your standard polycap, which is that double jointed giggity goo, 2 ball joints. You get the usual out of this, that is tilt, down, up. Nothing really gets in the way, surprisingly, even with that collar, and we've got that full spin all the way around. Typical polycap in the shoulder that is aligned to move towards the front. Ball joint then inside of that, so that can move around like so. There is the arm all the way up, so that is pretty good. We do have the full rotation there. Full rotation at the upper arm. We've got a double jointed bend at the elbow, so that is pretty much perfect. The wrist is a ball joint and a polycap, that is fine, nothing problematic there. This kit has that double polycap ab crunch, so that means there's a polycap right there, a second polycap above that, but you actually get a little more out of this than you usually would, I feel. That is it all the way to the back, and there it is all the way to the front, so that is decent. And we do get a little bit of side to side as well, pretty good. Front skirting armor is on ball joints, these are together on the runner, can be snipped apart before building. Standard polycap side skirt here, so that can move up and down ever so slightly, not a lot, but it can spin to the front and the back very well. Basic paralyzed butt flap round back. Inside the waist we have that side to side rocking mechanism. As for the kicks, there it is all the way up to the front. That is absolutely fantastic. It is blocked out to the back because of that paralyzed butt flap, and out to the sides we've got pretty much that full splits. Next up, we have full rotation at that upper leg. If it's in close, the armor will clash at that point. Next up is that 2-point bend at the knee. That is fantastic. Very, very nice. And one thing that has impressed me a lot about this kit is this ankle joint. Look how far that can knock back and then swing up like this. So there is no bend at the toes, but it really does make up for it at its ankle joints. Let's pop that leg off. And check out what this can do on the ground without the foot leaving the ground. So there it is all the way to the back. That is incredible. Next up, there it is all the way to the front. That ankle armor does not get in the way. That is crazy good. And there, whoa, ball joint. Anyway, there it is all the way in without popping it. And there it is all the way out. Once again, this is fantastic. Anyway, that right there is it for the review, and I have to say, I love the high-grade Strike Gundam Revive. To me, this right here is... I'm gonna go with gold tier. I feel like a lot of the elements of this kit right here are silver tier, but there's some kind of magic inside of this high grade that just brings it that little bit higher. It brings all the elements it has together, which are good, and they all come together to create something that is great. It's solid, fun to play around with, it's got basic yet fun accessories, and it does look phenomenal, and will always look phenomenal. Sure, it does have a heavy reliance on stickers for the Striker Pack, but it's one solid Striker Pack compared to its real grade and master grade counterparts. This right here is a kit you cannot go wrong with. For something that is 7 years old, it's as good or even better than some modern kits that are coming out. Sure, it doesn't have all the modern bells and whistles, but it's still one little workhorse of a high grade. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. Once again, if you do want to see some older Gunpla reviews, anything at all, drop it down there in the comments. I cannot guarantee that I will be able to get around to it, but if I see it's requested, I can manage to get my hands on it, then I will try to make a review of it. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I will see you next time. Once again, I cannot finish this video right here without thanking each and every one of you guys. Whether you just watch my videos, like them, or support the channel on the channel memberships and over on Patreon. Like Craig Jury, Greg Humphrey, Kaiser721, Tyler Sanders, Caleb Engelhardt, Sean T, and the ambassador for Asymmetric Cat.